exams. So since you're writing Jan exams, let's look at the last Jan paper, 2025. How you talk it through together, right?
Okay, so
Mhm. Let's look at this first one. Rachel Kaur is the owner of Good Care Beauty Salon. The salon consists of two departments, nails and hair. Tell me did this paper already. So let's see how much I remember. The nails department has 5 technicians, supervised by Julian Jones. So normally I would recommend underline and stuff, but in your case, the questions are going to be online, kind of like this, and you will be writing, so you may not be able to underline, right? So just take note of stuff. The hair department comprises 7 stylists and is supervised by Kaylee Scott. Rachel co-manages the business and is assisted by an accountant clerk, Maxine Stam. Use the information in the scenario above to complete the following organizational chart for Good Care Beauty Salon. The title and name of employees must state for each, right? So in this position here, we call this the staff function. This is the position for the person who provides support. Out of everybody here, who you think will be providing support or assistance? Take it.
Maxine Stan.
Mm-hmm. Good job. Why is it so tiny? Okay, a little too big. Right, Maxine Stamp. Good start. Right. Who would be above the nails department and who would be above the hair department?
Julian Jones.
Julian Jones is who? Nails or hair?
Neil.
Mm-hmm. And who would be hair?
Kylie Scott.
All right, Kaylee. Scott. All right. Then it said stay the span of control of the manager of Good Care Beauty Salon. That will be the people that directly report to the manager. The number of people. How much people directly report to the manager?
3.
3. So the span of control is 3. Then it asks identify 2 potential sources of conflict that may occur between the manager and the employees of beauty care, Good Care Beauty Salon, sorry. It's only 2 marks, so you don't have to go into too much detail. You just have to say any 2 potential sources of conflict. What one do you think? Something that could cause conflict between the management and the employees. Anything at all.
Miscommunication.
Miscommunication, definitely. Nice one. One more.
And the assistant might feel like he's in charge of the other employees.
So, how's a better way to say that, boy? Not understanding job rules. Right. Other things that could cause conflict Could be stuff like the working conditions. If the working conditions are poor, the um employees might resent management. Or you could have late salary payments or inadequate salary. Or workers could be coming to work late or not coming to work at all. That will be irregularity. And all of these things are examples of stuff that could cause conflict. Now here they're talking about how to resolve conflict. They say describe each of the following strategies used in the resolution of conflicts in an organization. Mediation. What is mediation? You can remember? More pretend is the exam. And I want you to, in your own words, write what you think mediation would be. Based on what you remember, based on the name, based on what you would have heard in real life. When you hear somebody coming to mediate between two people, what do you think you'd put?
Um, when a third party comes and assist, well, not assist, well, come and make suggestions on how to resolve the conflict.
Very good. A third party listens to both sides and assists or makes suggestions on how to resolve the conflict. Very good. Now, what would arbitration be? You can remember?
Um, when you listen to both sides and then you make a decision on your own.
Very, very, very close. Is when the arbitrator, somebody called an arbitrator, listens to both sides, and then the arbitrator makes the decision. So that's how they say arbitrator. So an arbitrator is like a judge, listens to both sides before making a legally binding decision on the conflict. To whatever the arbitrator decides, that is what goes. Whatever they say goes. With the mediator, the most they can do is make suggestions. But with the arbitrator, whatever he or she decides, that is the decision. Now here, they ask to list 4 characteristics of a good leader. Again, you don't have to go into detail explaining it. You just have to list them out. So what you would say are 4 characteristics?
Honesty,
Honesty,
respectful, responsible, and
respectful, responsible. All 3 of those we take. One more.
being a good leader.
Well, you can't say being a good leader is a characteristics of a good leader. Yeah, they give me something
You
else.
are a speaker,
Risk taker, taking that. All right, so honesty would be like saying trustworthy. Intelligent. So, good communication skills. The whole. Hardworking or diligent. All of these will be good characteristics as well. Then it said, explain two benefits a manager adopting a democratic style of leadership rather than an authoritarian style of leadership. So, do you know the difference between democratic and autocratic?
Yes, sir.
All right. What's an advantage of using democratic over autocratic? We know democratic is when we listen to our subordinates, or some advantages of listening to our subordinates.
If you use a democratic style of leadership, you could create better bonds with your employees.
All right, so using a democratic style of leadership can lead to creating a greater bond between employees. So this is 6 marks, right? So that means each of these two benefits is 3 marks each. See, it starts off good. Now let's land the 3 marks. Explain how. So we can create a greater bond by or because, and either one of those. You're absolutely correct, huh? Is it because by including them in the decision making, they feel more respected?
Yes, sir.
Because by including them in the decision making process, they feel more respected and more involved. Mhm. This can also help build trust among each other, right? Also help build trust. What's one more benefit then from listening to your subordinates? There's one more benefit. Which one you think you'll get more ideas from? If you're using your ideas only, or you're listening to your ideas plus your subordinates' ideas?
Yes, I'm a subordinate.
You're supposed to subordinate, right? So democratic leadership style could lead you to gain more access to more ideas, more creativity, more innovation. A lot of these things that might escape you if you're using the autocratic leadership style. So you could put this style, but also open the leader to access to other ideas, innovations, and creative thoughts from their subordinates instead of only using their own. This can lead to a wider range of possibilities that may have been lost if an authoritarian style leadership was used. So what I did here is I made sure and compared it to the authoritarian style because that's what the question is asking us to do. Right? Why the democratic style is better than the authoritarian style. So in the first one, and the first answer, I should also do that as well. Can also help build trust that may have been lost under the authoritarian style. All right, so the question asks us to compare the both, so I'll compare the both. Nice number one there. You feel like you could answer most of that?
Yes, sir.
I think so too. Let's look at number two. First one is define entrepreneur. What do they say entrepreneur is?
A person who creates a business.
So when you're using entre entrepreneur definition, make sure and include the word risk. All right, so you say a person who creates his own business, you could say a person who takes all the risk involved in creating their own business. They don't even have to specify. You don't have to say financial risk. Just say risk because it have more risk than just financial. You could risk wasting your time, for example, and your energy, your reputation, all those things you're risking besides just your money. So it takes all the risk involved in starting your own business. Now they ask to state two characteristics of a typical entrepreneur, and it's only 2 marks, so you don't have to go into detail explaining them.
Risk
So
taker.
risk taker, definitely one. There's one more.
Having a creative mind.
Mm-hmm. Creative, boom. Could put innovative, goal oriented. You could put determined. You could put ambitious. Any of these could work. Right, here now, B. Describe each of the following functions of an entrepreneur in a business. The first one, conceptualizing. What is conceptualizing? It's the first part of starting a business, the very, very first part.
Planning.
Right before planning. Something has come even before planning. But if you had to have a business, what kind of business you'd want to have?
A clothing business.
A clothing business. So you just did the first thing. You just conceptualized. You just thought about a business idea. So my business idea would be a clothing business. That's the very first thing you do. And then you can start planning out on how the clothing business would be and stuff like that, and how much money you would need and all those different things. But the very first thing is you conceptualize. Think of the business idea. This is the very first part of the process of starting a business where the entrepreneur thinks of the business idea. That's the very first thing you do. What about bearing risk? What is this function, bearing the risk? What do you mean by that?
Taking on risk.
All right. So you could say mm, the entrepreneur is the one that faces the potential of negative consequences when starting a business. All right, you could give examples of negative consequences like financial loss and bankruptcy and so forth and so forth and so forth, right? But you notice that they use the word risk. All right, try to avoid using the same word to describe that word. So if I want to explain risk, I will try not to use the word risk. If I want to explain what money is, I will try not to use the word money. I try not to use the same word. Hmm. What about the entrepreneur's function of accessing funds? What do you mean by that? Don't overthink it. Oh, accessing resources, sorry.
But I'm not sure.
Good. And the entrepreneur is the person who has to get all the money and everything that the business needs to operate.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's what they're talking about here. When they're talking about the accessing resources. So the entrepreneur is the one that must gather all funds needed for the business to operate. All funds and anything else needed for the business to operate. All right, that is one of their functions as well. Right? Then they ask, outline two rules of entrepreneurship, two rules of entrepreneurship in the development of Caribbean economies. What are some of the things entrepreneurship does to develop Caribbean economies? Could think of anything?
Nothing.
Let's see. Does your mom work?
Yes, sir.
All right. What does she work in? She works at a job, right? In a business?
Yes,
Well,
sir.
all right. So entrepreneurship creates jobs for persons in the Caribbean. That's one thing. Is there any products that you buy or services that you're using one
Yes,
right now
sir.
through me?
Yes,
All right.
sir.
All right. So that's the next thing they provide. They provide jobs and they provide goods and services. Mhm. So entrepreneurs provide job opportunities in the Caribbean economy by creating businesses and hiring locally. They also provide goods and services. They also provide goods and services that may not normally be available otherwise. You see, they have a pretty important job in the Caribbean. Then they say, Carmen wants to open a restaurant and sell fried chicken in the capital city of San Leo. They say, explain how Karim, sorry, pronouncing my name wrong. My apologies, Karim. Explain how Karim could comply with two government regulations or policies in the protection of the environment and or public health when establishing and operating a business. So it's a restaurant, right? Selling fried chicken. Think they'll have any policies they'll have to abide by? So a few things you could list out here. Could list out proper disposal of waste. For example, I would look at public health and the protection of the environment. You could look at proper food storage because you'll be serving population food. You have to do it properly and safely. You could look at the OSHA Act, Health and Safety. OSHA is Occupational Safety and Health Act, ensuring that employees are safe in the workspace and putting certain things in place to ensure that that happens. That's another thing you'll have to abide by. So you have a few options, right? One of the easiest ones to go with to start off with will be proper disposal of waste. So you can see one government regulation or policy that they must follow or that Karim must follow is the proper disposal of waste in the environment. Of waste. It must be done in accordance with the policies of the government in order to reduce harm on the environment. So that's the first one you could start off with. The second one, let's go with OSHA. OSHA. Occupational Safety and Health Act. So it's not just for your employees, it's for anybody who would be coming into the business. Your customers, employees, anybody who's in the building, things to keep them safe. Simple things like having a fire extinguisher or having a muster point in case something happens. Right. So you could see Karim must ensure that the business is up to date, up to standard, in accordance to all OSHA policies to ensure a safe working environment. And you'll be good to go there. And that is 20 marks. Now we reach number 3.
So,
And this, yeah,
can you go back up quick?
go back up to it. Sure.
Like,
Mm-hmm. Tell me when you're ready.
okay, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. So number three now, they start off asking about cottage industries. 1 second. All right. Caribbean economies benefit significantly from the contribution of cottage industries. Name three characteristics of cottage industries. Can you remember?
Creative,
Mm-mm. You know what a cottage industry is?
kind
It's
of
a
so
it's a home-based organization that uses local raw materials to create goods and services. So what is one of the characteristics? I just gave you one, I'll give you a couple there.
raw materials,
What kind of raw
local materials,
materials? They use local raw materials, right? Use local raw materials. What else?
home base,
Home-based. Right. And next one is that the labor is normally family labor. So it'd be like yourself or your family helping you. Family labor. Mhm. It's normally small in size. So a small business. So let's get an extra one. And it said list three types of goods and services that are often produced within cottage industries. What you could see being produced in cottage industries. Small businesses using local raw materials, the stuff being made home.
jewelry making,
What was that?
making jewelry.
Jewelry, right? What else?
You can make drinks and stuff.
So food, very good. Jewelry, food, one more.
Clothing,
Clothing, not bad at all. 3 marks right. Hmm. Why is this page like this? All right, that is okay. That is okay. Yeah, some for that. All right. They say state two advantages of small business operations now. What is an advantage of operating a business that is small in size?
you don't have to share your salary or
Well, I
the
mean,
profit that you make.
it's for the owner, I guess. If it's a sole trader, but if it's not a sole trader, but the business just small in size, could that is an advantage specifically to sole traders, not an advantage to all small businesses. Because they could have a small limited liability company or a small partnership. What is an advantage to small businesses on the whole? Which one harder to control? Large businesses or small businesses?
Large,
Smaller businesses easier to control because it have less persons to supervise. So it's easier to control and organize small businesses. It's easier and faster decision making. Easier communication. As because it have less people to communicate with, it's easier to communicate with them, right? Larger companies, they'll be able to raise more funds and stuff like that. They'll be able to obtain better loans and things like that. Smaller companies, they have the advantage in um having the personal touch and things like that. And so two disadvantages of the small business operation, you can look at the advantages of the large one. So it's harder to raise funds. Harder to raise funds or get access to loans. They normally produce less than large organizations. And because it could pay less than large organizations, it's harder to attract the better employees. Right? Things like that. They have less money that they pay in marketing and so forth and so forth. And let's see this part now. They say Jerome operates a small business, no, a small fruit juice manufacturing company, um, manufacturing business in Spicetown. Recently, he had seen opportunities for growth for the business and has been considering expanding. One way in which the business could grow internally. So what he could do inside the business that will make the business bigger. Don't overthink it again. What you could do to make the business bigger? Could he buy more equipment?
Yes, sir.
So he could buy more equipment, he could hire more employees, he could expand by purchasing another building, anything like that, right? So investing in more capital, that would be like buying more equipment, etc. Investing in labor, which would be like hiring more workers, right? Producing more goods, anything like that could lead to growth, right? Internally. But when you're looking at external, it's something that you're looking at something that you're doing outside the business. So that would be like merging with another company or buying another company. Right? Purchasing another company or teaming up with another company. So collaborating with another company. All those things could lead to external growth. So merging, purchasing, partnering. Then they say explain the likely effect that expansion could have on the organizational structure of Jerome's business. So would it get bigger or smaller, the organizational structure, if you're growing?
Bigger.
All right, so the organizational structure would grow in size. Likely grow in size. Not only that, but the type of structure may change. For example, if it was a line organizational structure or line and staff organizational structure, it would likely turn into a functional organizational structure where they separated based on their departments or their functions. So the nature of the organizational structure may also change. May also change. For example, from a line structure to a functional structure. All right, now the page flip again. That's all right. I should bring it back good. All right. Now here they ask about linkage industries. They ask to define the term linkage industry. Any idea what it is?
Nothing.
All right, so a linkage industry is when the output of one company is the input of another company. So I just make mango chow and you just sell mangoes. So your mango is your output because that is what you selling. And I using your mango to make my mango chow. So your mango is the input I using to make my product. So we now have a linkage industry. As when the output of one organization, the output of one industry is the input of another. Right? So just remember the output is the good or service they're selling. The input is the factors of production you use to make the good. So your output is what you selling, which is the mango. And that mango is one of the factors of production that I'm using to make my good. So your output is my input. Then they explain one backward or one forward linkage in which Jeremy's business could engage. What type of business Jeremy have again? It's juice. I think it's juicy selling. So a backward linkage could be mhm. All right. So a backward linkage could be um he is buying fruits from a vendor to make his juices. Linkage. Someone creates a fruit business and sells to Jerome for him to make his juices. Forward linkage now, and I'll explain what each of them is after. So it'll make a little more sense. Forward linkage, someone starts a restaurant and buys Jerome's juices to make, or someone opens a bar. Someone opens a bar and buys Jerome's juices to make cocktails. So remember we said linkage is when the output of one company is the input of another, right? So you normally have a primary company and a secondary company, right? The primary company would have the raw material, like in this example that we used just now, the mango. And the secondary company would have the manufactured good. And this example we used was the mango chow. One thing to note before I continue, you see how we're answering these questions like this? POB is not English, it's not Spanish, literature, none of those subjects, right? They are not testing you based on your ability to use the English language, your grammar, your spelling, your vocabulary. So you cannot lose marks if you don't use a full sentence. So if you spell a word wrong, or if your grammar is wrong, you cannot lose marks for that, right? You only lose marks for those things in language subjects. So there's something to note, right? Right, so let's look at the difference between forward linkage and backward linkage. If I owned a secondary company, a manufactured good company, so I own a mango chow company, and then somebody creates a mango company just so they could sell me mangoes, that would be a backward linkage. So I own the mango chow company first, and then somebody created a mango company just to sell me mangoes for my mango chow. That's a backward linkage. If I own a mango company and then somebody created a mango chow company to buy mangoes from me, then that would be forward linkage. So it really is which one occurs first. All right, so I'll do it again. If I own a mango company and then somebody creates a mango chow company to buy from me, so you're going from mango to the mango chow, that's forward linkage. If I own a mango chow company, the manufactured good, and then somebody creates a mango company so they could sell the mango to me, that would be backward linkage. So in the examples I use here, remember Jerome selling juices. So somebody starts a fruit business to sell the fruits to Jerome, that is backward linkage. Because the juice is the manufactured good in this instance. And then for the forward linkage, someone open a bar so they could buy Jerome's juice to make their product or service. That's forward linkage. So once it's moving from raw material to manufactured good, that's forward linkage. If it going manufactured to raw material, that's backward linkage. If you're distributing it forward, if it's someone distributing to you, it's backward. Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Number 4 now. List 4 methods of selling. Have you bought stuff before, Ariana?
Yes, sir.
All right. How do you buy stuff? What's the different ways that you bought stuff? You went by the shop and buy something?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that'll be retail. Oh no, let's say 4 methods of retail. Sorry, shop front. How else have you ever bought stuff before?
On
Right, online. So you can say e-commerce, or even if you say online, taking that as well, huh? So online slash e-commerce. All right. Let's see if we can think of two more. Mhm. All right, so let's have a few others, right? So you can do um direct selling, as when they use salesperson to sell the good. So they do have a store, but the salesperson comes to you. So you could even say door to door. So if somebody comes to you and sell to you, that ever happened to you before? Somebody come up to you and tell you they have something that they're trying to sell.
yes, sir.
Alright. So that is direct selling, right? They do have a storefront, but they're still trying to sell something to you. Right? You ever went by a vending machine and
Yeah,
buy
no,
and buy
sir.
something? Right. That's also a form of retail. So you could say automated retailing, brackets. I could put example, vending machine. All that is also retail. So any method of selling something is retail. Right? You have your physical shop or store, online, to have direct selling when they come to you directly, or it have the automatic retailing, automated retailing, like your vending machines. Now they ask to explain the following terms of sale. First one is hire purchase. You know what a hire purchase is? Uh,
Kind of, sir.
what you would say it is? Like if you had to describe it. Think about it. So a hire purchase is when you purchase and you pay an item using installments over a period of time. Sometimes it's a down payment, sometimes it isn't, right? This is when a person purchases an item by making periodic payments, usually weekly or monthly, over a period of time. They get the item immediately, but do not own the item until the final payment. So I might go to Court, like Court's mega store, and say, nah, but I need a new fridge. I pay my down payment. Sometimes they may have a down payment, sometimes they may not. I will get the fridge to use immediately, but the fridge is not mine. I pay my monthly installments. When I finish pay the final one, then the fridge will be owned by me. If I miss my payments, then courts could come and take back the fridge because remember the fridge is not mine. All right? Consignment now is when the owner of the goods, owner of the goods, I must say it's arrangement, sorry. An arrangement, the owner of the goods, we call the cosigner, sends them to someone to sell. Sends them to an agent to sell, call them the consignee, to sell on their behalf. Right? The consignee does not own the goods. Does not own the goods and only pays the consignor. You don't have to write all of this for 2 marks, right? I just give you the extra information. And only pays the consignor once the goods are sold and receives a commission for it. So it's like I give you a set of goods and say you sell it for me. You sell it for me, you give me the money, and then I give you a little percentage for doing it for me. Layaway now is very simple, similar to hire purchase. You pay in periodically for an item, and it's not yours until you make the final payment. The difference is you do not take home the item until the final payment is made. Right? This is where the customer pays periodically for an item, usually weekly or monthly, for a period of time only after the last payment is made does the customer take home the item. So that is the difference between hire purchase and layaway. Hire purchase, I need the item now, so I'm taking it out on hire purchase. Now pay my installments. Layaway, I don't need it now, but I want it. So keep that there for me, don't sell it. I can pay you over and over again until I fully pay it off and then I'm taking it. You understand the difference between hire purchase and layaway?
I'm listening.
Right. So hire purchase, you pay in monthly installments by getting it one time. Layaway, you pay in monthly installments by getting it after the last payment is made. Now they said state four functions of consumer organizations. So consumer organizations, these are organizations that are created to protect customers or protect consumers, right? Protect our rights. You could think of any functions of consumer organizations. You want to give you them?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the first thing is to educate us about our rights and responsibilities. Because if we don't know our rights, how can we know if our rights are being violated or not? They test and evaluate the products that are being sold. Because they are the protectors, right? The whole thing is to protect us and make sure that we treat it fairly. So if I say my product don't have nuts on it and I sell it in a major grocery, I have to go through testing to prove that my product doesn't have nuts in it. Because if it does, and somebody consumes it, who are allergic to nuts, they could literally die. So to protect us, as consumers, they will test and evaluate products to make sure it meets certain standards. It has the certain level of quality needed. It actually contains what it says it says it contains, and so forth, right? They assist in resolving complaints and disputes. So let's say you find you purchased something and it wasn't what you bought, and you complain to the company and the company say they're not doing anything. You could go to a consumer organization and they would assist you any matter. They will do the investigation and then they will help come to a resolution to the complaint. And they also lobby for policy changes. So they will try to lobby or influence the government's decisions when it comes to certain policies that are related to consumers. Here now, oh boy, am I get my glasses? This is looking blurry. Jeez, I'm getting old. All right. Venus Communication Limited provides mobile phone services to citizens of Peanut Island. The management of the company is concerned with that the business is often openly criticized for its poor customer service. Explain one way in which poor customer service is likely to affect the success of Venus Communication Limited. How do you think poor customer service could affect the success of a company? Ariana, what do you think?
Um, when you have poor customer service,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of customers wouldn't want to go back to your company because of the way the employees would treat the customers.
Exactly. Poor customer service may deter customers from returning to the company, which can lead to a reduction in overall sales in the long run. Could also talk about the reputation. So poor customer service can damage a company's reputation, which decreases the chances of customers patronizing them. Then he asks, that's all right, right?
So
Yeah,
can you go back up, please?
sure.
Connection.
Right. Number two, explain how online chats or surveys could be used by the management of Venus Communications Limited to improve the company's customer service. How can an online chat be used to improve or a survey be used to improve the customer service? Think about it. What you could use the survey to do.
To promote the business.
Yeah, but you could do something even more important or something that'll be even more helpful.
Leave reviews.
You could gather information. So you could do surveys to find out what they like and what they don't like, and then use that to make improvements. Make sense? See, survey is like
Yes, sir.
basically you get any person to answer questions or rate certain things. Right? So they can use The survey to gather information on customers' wants and needs, as well as their likes and dislikes, and make improvements based on that information. The online chats now could provide 24/7 customer service where any customers have any problems or issues, they could get assistance through the online chats. Nice 20 marks. And then we reach number 5 now. They asked to define business technology. In your mind, what do you say business technology is? Would I get 3 marks for the short answer?
Um, let's see. Hmm. All the equipment and stuff that you use in your business.
All the equipment, I like that they did not use the word technology. All the equipment that's used in a business. All right. All technological tools mm, software or digital tools used in used to perform business activities. Then they said, list 4 factors that determine a country's standard of living or quality of life for its citizens. How much marks is this? 4? So when you're looking at a country's standard of living, you're looking at how comfortable their lives are, how easy it is for them to afford certain things, like living, like the accommodation, food, access to healthcare, safety, stuff like that, right? 1 second. Sorry, just give me 1 second. So I kind of give you some answers there. Then you could think of any. Could you even repeat any of the answers that I may have given just now? Oh, you want me to give you them? You want me to give you some more?
So, yes, sir.
All right. So access to public services like healthcare, um, the roads, infrastructure, stuff like that, access to jobs, access to jobs, the GDP of the country or the national income. That is how much, on average, how much each citizen is making, more or less. When they say per capita, it means like per person. Life expectancy, level of crime, environmental quality, so like the water clean and stuff like that. The air is clean and not poisonous or polluted. All of these things could help determine a country's standard of living or quality of life, right? Stuff more. These are just some. Right? Access to public services, the infrastructure like the roads, buildings, etc. The access to jobs and job security. I could even add that. Level of national income per capita. And you could say the average income per capita if you can remember all of that, or average income per person if you can remember all of that. Now here, they want to know the difference between gross domestic product and the gross national product. The gross domestic product is the average. There's different ways you can look at it, right? You can look at it as the average income earned or the average value of products and services produced. Let's look at it at the second one. Within a country, gross national product is the average value of the products produced by a country. Let me explain the difference. Once it was made inside of Trinidad and Tobago, it is part of the gross domestic product or the GDP. So if I am Trinidadian, but I am in Jamaica and I make a product or service, it would not be part of the gross domestic product because it was not made inside of Trinidad and Tobago. Gross national product, once it was made by a Trinidadian, it will be part of the gross national product. So I could be in Jamaica and I can make a product. Because I'm a Trinidadian, it will be part of my gross national product. You understand the difference?
Yes, sir.
Right. So domestic, home. So made inside the home. All right. The value or the total monetary value of products or goods and services, I should say, made within a country's borders. And total national product, the total monetary value of goods and services made by a country's citizens. So GDP within the country, GNP by the country. Both are important. Then he said low levels of production is a major economic problem facing Caribbean countries. Outline two possible solutions other than education to this economic problem. Right? We have low levels of production as a major problem. What do you think we could do? Think about it. Think this is the last or second to last question. Low levels of production is a major economic problem. What do you think?
I'm not sure, so.
You're not sure? Alright, that's okay. So for one, we could use what we're doing now, kinda regional integration. Right? So let's say, for example, I have an organization and we need workers, but we do have the workers in this country that are able to do the job. I might be able to get somebody from another country to come and help. So for one, regional integration, which is the purpose of CARICOM or CSME. Using CARICOM, single market economy, can help address a lot of the challenges faced by increasing the market. Because now, because of CSME, I have a larger market and not just selling to Trinidadians, I selling to every member of the CARICOM. So I have a reason to produce more by increasing the market, by increasing the amount of potential employees, by pooling resources together. So now I have more resources to use from, and not just the resources in Trinidad. Mhm. And another thing they could do, if you want to produce more, invest more in technology. If maybe the labor is an issue, and start to invest more in technology. Investment in infrastructure and technology. Let's become a little more capital intensive instead of labor intensive. By investing more in technology and improving our infrastructure, we can greatly increase our ability to produce goods and services efficiently in large amounts. We have better technology, could produce more with it. Plain and simple. And the very last question. Explain two ways in which investment in education, which is why they said besides education just now, in which investment in education by the Caribbean government can lead to an increase in the production of goods and services in the region. How do you think education could lead to an increase in production?
Without education, wouldn't be able to produce the goods and services. They wouldn't know what to do.
Right, so you would know how to do it, and so if you improve education, you'll have more people that know how to do it. And you might have people who'll be able to learn how to produce new things. Yeah? So investing in education can lead to a more skilled labor force. Bring efficiency in the labor force, correct? May lead to a more skilled labor force. This more skilled and efficient labor force will now have the ability, to produce more goods and services efficiently. They would have the knowledge to operate, the knowledge to operate machinery more effectively and utilize advanced technology. Use to produce goods at a higher quality and a faster rate. Because they know what they're doing now. Now you have more people educated. They now have more ideas. They now gonna become more creative. So now invest in education and it leads to more innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic diversification, which you're always talking about, diversify the economy. To diversify an economy means to find different ways to make money. So investing in tertiary education can lead to 1 second. It can lead to the human capital of a country being more innovative. Innovative means finding new things to do. This can lead to persons creating not only improving the production process, the current production process, but also creating new products and starting their own businesses. And if you have more businesses, that means you're going to have more production. Because now you have more people producing goods and services. And you have people producing it in different ways, in faster ways, more effective ways. It's going to increase production. And that's it there. That's the end. All right, so we'll finish here. Around 6:30, we'll meet again with the class. And we'll do our next paper too, right?
Okay.
All right, go and get some rest. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, sir. Bye.
Bye.